Hey, everybody.
This is Patriot Sports Radio.
Patriot Sports Radio.
Fed up with the national talking heads and biases of mainstream sports media. If it's sports, from the high school level to the pros, we're talking about it. Like the red-blooded Americans we are.
God bless America.
God bless America.
God bless America.
Let's do this. Here's Eric, John, Chris, and the coach.
Back, my friends. If you're new, then welcome in. Patriot Sports Radio Football Edition. My name is Eric. I'm your host. Glad to have you with us. Thank you for those reviews. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just distracted. Do you see John? Do you see how stunning he looks this evening?
Howdy.
Everybody's here.
This
John,
is
Angela,
Patriot
Coach.
Sports Radio.
Patriot Sports Radio.
Run it back.
Run it back.
What's going on,
Hey.
guys?
You fucking if you find a play that works, you run it till they show they can stop it.
That's right.
That's right.
So we're just coming to the end of these games. Kyler Murray is trying desperately to send this thing into overtime,
He just did.
and he just did. Okay, I have an idea for these live shows. I think people will be heading to work in the morning, so I've put together a quick commute cram session that will start these Sunday nights off with. People are busy. Some of us have jobs and family obligations on Sundays. Some people take a nap and miss the action, or some folks only watch their team. So this is your quick commute cram session. Facts and conversation starters, so you can talk sports at work even though you miss some snaps. It's in a small enough package to fit any commute. Okay, you can open with, I guess 4 hours isn't enough study time for Kyler, am I right? Or you could say Jacoby Brissett started out 11 for 11. That game exceeded expectations, a surprising amount of offense to start anyway. Good thing the 49ers kept Jimmy, huh? Who the fuck, if your job is F-bomb friendly, you say, who the fuck is going to beat the Ravens? And then you remind them that the Miami Dolphins just did, because Lamar looked unstoppable until Tua came out and looked unstoppable-er. 6 touchdowns, over 500 yards. Everybody who had negative things to say about Tua are going to have some explaining to do. I'm still getting my story straight. The Colts just can't win in Jacksonville. That's always a fun conversation about how the Colts are terrible. Jonathan Taylor had 9 rush yards at halftime. He ran a guy over, but what good is that? What good is that when you're getting your ass kicked? We had a fight in Bucs Saints game. I would open with that. Mike Evans came flying off the sideline when he saw an opportunity for a cheap shot at his old buddy Marshawn Lattimore.
It was an actual Donnybrook, like you like to talk about. It was a fracas.
Yes.
Fracas,
I think
sir?
someone has to lose an ear in a Donnybrook. I don't know.
Oh.
Can you describe the fracas, sir?
I think
Hey,
there's
what did the final end up being on that? I had to leave and I didn't
I
get
believe
to
it's
see
20
the
to
end.
10.
20 to 10. Wow.
Yeah, Tom Brady
Nice.
looked like the loneliest guy in America on that team today. Without 2 of his receivers and his left tackle. And then the other best receiver he had got into a fight. So he was a little bit on an island.
Mike
That was
Evans.
a total shit show for sure.
Yeah.
The other part that I thought was crazy was he was throwing his iPad on the sideline, and I was on Twitter while that was going on, and somebody was like, "That's BS. If that was Rodgers, he'd get his ass chewed," and everybody would like read him the riot act, and because it's Brady, they're like, "Oh, look at he's upset." I was like, "Yeah, that's not bullshit. It's like goat bias."
Yeah, oh, that's just constructive criticism there from Tom.
Yeah,
These young boys need to listen to him.
right. It's goat bias for
Goat
sure.
bias.
Yeah,
I don't mind that. Yeah, we're going to overtime in Arizona. Okay, or in Las Vegas. I expected Devontae Adams to have the game of his life because the grandparents were in the building. Once again, I fail to understand what motivates the professional athlete. I guess we don't have a lot in common. This is gross. I expected the coach. We talked about Bengals Cowboys this morning, and I said I think that's going to be 44-10. The Bengals are just going to stomp Dallas with the backup quarterback and that high-powered offense with Joe Mixon, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Joe Burrow. I mean, sure, they're down a tight end, but who cares? That was gross.
The Bengals are terrible. They're terrible all the way across the board. I mean, the display today was hideous. That's 2 bad teams. You can celebrate all you want, Dallas fans. You got a terrible team that beat a terrible team. Both of those teams, they shouldn't. I mean, this is the highest form of football that we have, and it was garbage today. That was a terrible game to watch, and they almost got beat at the end. The Bengals, I don't understand. I mean, with an offense like that, how in the world they're that bad? They're bad at everything. They don't run the ball well. They don't throw the ball well. Burrow is running for his life. I thought they refigured the offensive line, but I think he was sacked 7 times a day, I think, in the first half.
We were told they fixed that in the offseason.
Yeah, they didn't. They didn't. Here's a newsflash, Cincinnati. You didn't. AFC champs. They might call themselves AFC chumps. That's what I wrote down here. That's not even the worst. That's not even. That's not. I mean, I don't want to get ahead of the game here, but gosh, let me tell you, I'm pretty fired up about several key points. The Bengals are just the tip of the iceberg.
Before we start flaming people, what do you guys think about ranking the witching hour when wins become losses and losses become wins? The end of the third, beginning of the fourth quarter. In the early games, it's usually referred to as the witching hour. The majority of the crazy shit happens. Some weeks are better than others. I think the last week was a solid 4 Broomer. That was fun. And this one started out maybe as a 1-2 Broomer, but then a fight broke out. The Dolphins came back. The Jets came back. They're falling on onside kicks, dogs and cats living together.
I'm going to need some clarification on this scale here.
The Ravens were up 35-14 in the fourth quarter, and they won. The witching hour is
no, I know what the witching hour is. What I don't know is what your scale is.
Witch's broom.
Is it like 5 brooms?
We ranked how good the witching hour was on a
We're
scale
going 1
of
to 10. We're going 1 to 5. We're going half brooms here. I'm going to need some clarification.
Yeah, we can go half brooms, not quarter brooms though. And I am making these rules up as I go, so they're ironclad.
Too complex.
The excitement level of the witching hour on a scale of 1 to 5, then I'll rank them. This was a 4 Broomer, if you ask me.
All I needed.
If there was an onside kick recovery, that's an automatic 3 Broomer. And then a Jets victory adds another 1 at least.
Joe Flacco.
I had a theory that he threw it 59 times last week, so he was going to come out with a dead arm, but quite the opposite.
Somebody reminded me today in a Sam's Club that he was the dadgum Super Bowl MVP, and I had forgotten that. I saw the only guy in the state of Oklahoma wearing a Flacco jersey today. I was really shocked. And I saw a Bears fan today wearing a mask, which pretty much sums up all Bears fans.
Yeah, you'll have that. They just don't want to be able to be identified for after this game.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh.
Sure. We'll get into predictions later. But based on where I'm at, the games were terrible. I watched for about 2 hours and saw 1 touchdown. It was brutal.
Oof.
So I checked out a little bit, but then checked back in when fights started breaking out, like you said, during the witching hour. That's a pretty good strategy. If things are a little slow moving, just wait until a fight breaks out.
It got everybody a little fired up. Tom Brady was yelling at somebody. I believe there should have been a PI call, maybe. That's what started it. And then someone bumped into Tom Brady, and Mike Evans said, "What? I can go take a cheap shot at Lattimore?"
Well, it was Lattimore. They were trash talking. Kind of similar to when the Honey Badger trash talked him in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It was eerily similar, and then Tom came back and won. So don't trash talk Tom Brady if you're just some guy that isn't very good.
The best part about that whole thing was it's going down, and then Brady just kind of casually started walking over there. Like he wasn't going to break it up. He was just like observing maybe what was going on.
Homer Simpson in the hedges, just disappearing back.
Yep. Did you see a photo or video from his recent media availabilities? He's starting to have a skeleton-shaped face. I don't know what's going on there, how much, if he's cut out the avocado ice cream or if he's not sleeping or what's going on. But
he's on the Mrs. Coach diet.
Ooh,
I'm going to have to look up the word
plant-based.
gaunt. I keep hearing people
Gaunt?
say he's gaunt. I'm going to need to look up what that means.
Well, he didn't look good today. It's hard to judge what he did based off the people around him, but He did not look like Tom Brady. Like I said, he looked like the loneliest man out there with no friends. He was at recess playing with a different school of kids.
Yeah.
Him and Giselle are living in different homes now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Apparently, he's taking Wednesdays off now. I'm sorry. That's not acceptable. I don't care if you're the GOAT. You don't.
Well,
take
that's the day
Wednesdays
with the
off.
kids.
Well, then frickin' retire.
Right.
We got a team.
It's
to
starting to
build.
get weird.
Get a better
It
lawyer.
is. Yeah.
Bring the kids to the game. Strap helmets on them. Speaking of, that'll dovetail nicely into. So we were talking about our biggest surprises, our biggest things that we saw coming a mile away. Coach was talking about some dumpster fires. He's heated about. He's a coach. He saw bad football today. He's heated about it. So I think what we do is we go around and we bring a list of like 3 or 4 things that were the things that stood out to us most today. Because we're not going to be. We tried to run through all the games last week. It was a bit of a ball of Christmas lights. I mean, there's 15, 16.
Shout out to Game On. He's in the chat. Never doubt Tom. Just don't do it. Don't even make fun of him. This man is on a mission.
I typed a text message that I did not send to Chris that said, are we going to have to put Will on Tom Brady probation? Like, we can't let him pick Tom Brady for a couple weeks. But I didn't send it because it's Tom Brady. And then he did win the game. We talked about kids. Stefanski had his kids on the field already celebrating the victory, the Browns coach, when they were up 30-17. And then everything fell apart. They lost the onside kick. What do you say to the kids at that point? I mean, it's obviously their fault. Do you tell them that you just jinxed daddy?
You say, kids, there's going to be some changes around here. You do the stepdad talk. My name's Scott. I'm not your daddy, but there's going to be some changes around here. And if you respect me, I'll respect you. Now get the hell out of the stadium.
It doesn't start out, look here, you little shit.
All right. I'm not saying it's your fault.
Check the name tag.
It's
You're
not
in my
because you
world
were
now.
bad.
Yeah.
Like,
Is this because we were bad?
Rob Dibble?
Yes.
Is that the guy who does the pre-games on Fox? He's in. Parents will be familiar with 6th grade, the worst years of my life. He was the stepdad in that movie. That's the kind of stepdad I'm picturing. The BMW total douchebag stepdad. Like,
Or Mr.
you
Woodcock.
cost me this game. You understand that, right?
Drops you off at a McDonald's to your real dad.
I think we've covered that.
Wait, can I give my standout moment of the week so
Yes.
far?
That's where we're at.
You know, well, we got a corn pop is coming
Corn
up
Pop
later.
is its own segment.
Corn pop's coming up later. If there's an anti-corn pop, who's not a bad dude, it's Nathaniel Hackett. What is he doing?
What's his
Okay.
middle name? Can't
That's horrible.
then they get a delay of game penalty and puts them out of field goal range, and he has to punt it. So if you listen to the broadcast after that, the crowd started chanting once it got to 5, like in high school basketball or college or whatever.
God.
5, 4, 3. It's so embarrassing.
Oh my God.
He's
You've got
embarrassing,
one
and the
job.
Broncos are embarrassing.
That I
The
mean,
boos were raining down upon them
in
today.
terms of expectations versus reality, this is you bought a shirt on Amazon and then you realized it was a doll's t-shirt.
This is wish.com. That's what you got. You order
It's
it
bad.
what you thought was Amazon, but you got Wish.
And then, to quote Coach, who's said this 87 times, is get a guy who tells you, you got 10 seconds. Let's get a play in. You
Get
got
a
10
kid who
seconds.
plays Madden.
Nut up and get a play in.
They're on my list. I can't wait. I can't wait to get that. He comes out of a timeout, and that's what you get. I couldn't believe it.
Hey, Coach, Will wants to know, how the hell did you blow that Bengals game, man?
I don't either. I mean, they're on the list. There's 3 on the list here.
They're on the list.
You just made the list.
You just made the list.
That's it.
Double secret probation list.
Right.
These are scorched earth. I'm done with them.
What's the biggest dumpster fire you got on the paper in front of you there, Coach?
Oh. I've been waiting on this. Let me tell you who the biggest dumpster fire is. It's Cliff effing Kingsbury. Cliff Kingsbury, I hope you're watching this. you no sock wearing son of a whatever you are.
You
Let me
boat
tell you
chewing
this.
motherfucker.
His offensive strategy makes about as much sense as a velvet painting of a whale and a dolphin getting it on. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. You have a video game player in Kyler Murray. You have a video game player. And if you think that he's not active, I mean, you think that doesn't work in the NFL? Let's look at Lamar Jackson today. Let's look at what he did.
119 rush yards.
Because he's similar, and yet they can't even script plays. I watched them actually run a couple of different options with Murray, which I thought, oh, okay, we're going to get him into the option game, maybe some RPO stuff. No, we went away with that pretty quick. He's terrible. He's garbage. I hope he gets fired. The Cardinals are terrible. The Colts are terrible. The Colts, I don't even want to start with the Colts. The AFC champions is what I picked them to be. They shouldn't even be in the AFC championship. They shouldn't be in the AFC. They're terrible.
I have a
Cardinals,
wager.
Bengals, Broncos, Colts. Garbage. Hot garbage, all of them.
I think the word you used was rancid. You said rancid.
Yes.
I like that.
To
That's what they
piggyback
are.
off what you were ranting about with Arizona and Coach Kingsbury, it was obvious if you're listening that they're stealing plays from the Chiefs. He's like, because you'll see him circle it. Looks a lot better when the Chiefs run this. Like a little shovel pass.
And that's fine. He can tie it up and they can cover today. They're terrible. Their offensive play calling is garbage. Kingsbury's garbage.
They have no business even.
Hey,
being in
Coach,
this game.
Will says they're tied up right now.
Yeah,
I'm
I see
watching it.
Probably
I've got
gonna
it just
cover.
off screen here.
I mean, there's only so long you can contain Kyler Murray. For 3 quarters, they just pretty much decided to put him in some kind of a, Plunkett offense where he just, tries to get the slants. That's all they were doing. It was, I don't know. Kingsbury's terrible. The Cardinals are terrible. They have a roster full of studs. I don't know why they're not better. I don't know.
I will say that Cliff Kingsbury has no business in the NFL. He had no business after Texas Tech. He already had Mahomes. He couldn't win with them. He couldn't win with them already.
He didn't win
In
at
the Big
Texas
12.
Tech. He won 1 year. One year, and he parlayed that into some interviews and some no socks wearing at some table drafts.
Penny
and next thing you
loafers.
know, he's the head coach of the Cardinals. Which
It's a lot of politics getting from the upper echelon of high school to college and then to the pros. You got to make all the right friends.
Well, you tell me. I mean, you have great teams in history that were coached by some really phenomenal. I mean, we just saw one, that a team that takes on the persona of their head coach. We had Parcells, guys like that, Belichick. I mean, those are hard-nosed guys. Dan Campbell's even a hard-nosed dude. But you really think you want to go into an alley with Cliff Kingsbury? He's got to check his makeup before we go down there, or what? I mean, that's what we're doing here. I don't like the guy. I haven't liked him since he got in the NFL. And the fact that Kyler Murray is a part of that is because I think Kyler Murray is really a one-man video game. And I don't understand why they can't do some of the things that are being done around the league, because that's the way the league's moving. But his play calling is him and Hackett both. They should be on a staff together. Hackett was bad today.
Mm-hmm.
Against the Texans. I mean, the Texans of all teams.
It's one thing to have a flub like you did. I don't even know. I wouldn't even excuse last week's Monday night debacle with the field goal and Russ on the sidelines. And then to follow it up with performance today. I mean, if you're the general manager, you say, come in, shut the door, and have a seat. What are you doing? Do you understand the game of football? It's really bad.
It's just hard for me to believe at the football's highest echelon. This is the kind of things that we see coming out of timeouts, and this is the offensive play calling as we go down the stretch in games. I mean, if you're scripting games and you're the play caller in an NFL team, in my mind, I would think it's not much different than being a play caller at any level, where you have your scenarios and your list, and you go down through there and you find your best things that you've worked on that week. This looks like literally they're just taking timeouts and drawing stuff up in the grass. Or, hey, I saw this work once. Let's try this. It just doesn't seem very good to me. And it's the quality of football today as a whole in the NFL was pretty bad for the highest level.
I literally had to take a shower after the afternoon games.
Yeah.
Just let's just turn the page and hopefully we get a good product tonight, because it wasn't very entertaining there for a couple hours. And it's just weird. It's bizarro world when Tom Brady can't score a touchdown. We got the Cowboys winning with their backup quarterback. It's I don't know. The NFL is not going to play out how we thought when we started this podcast, 6 months ago. We had an assumption for how things were going to go. AFC West looks loaded. Here we see Las Vegas is struggling. We know that the Broncos are struggling as well. I don't know that league is, or that division is as stacked as we thought. Obviously, it's going to be good with the Chargers and the Chiefs just playing an absolute amazing game Thursday night. But I don't see the Broncos doing anything after this. So they don't. Oh my gosh, Arizona just won it. Was that a pick six?
No way.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, McDaniels isn't winning any coaching awards today either. Oh, and there's Cliff Kingsbury skipping like a little girl.
So my whole thing is, like, obviously it's only week 2 and there's a lot of fine tuning to do. And there's a lot of changes that need to be made and adjustments. And I think people do get like a little bit up in their feelings about it sometimes. But today was like a Three Stooges episode for real. Like, it was like a clown show.
It was a fumble recovery.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, it was just squirting around and then somebody picked it up. Yeah, I'm not trying to overreact. I'm just shocked that, like, for instance, you look at the Broncos lose to Seattle. Seattle goes and gets waxed by the Niners and Jimmy Garoppolo today. The Niners lost to the Bears last week. We don't exactly know what we're working with yet. It's a different league this year, for sure. It's different. Gosh,
Yeah.
I can't believe that's how they – dang. Vegas now 0-2.
For a team that owned that, they owned the game. Three and a half quarters of that game, they owned it. I mean, same way with, Dallas tried to let the Bengals back in too. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. And if this is any indication of what tonight can bring, I mean, the Bears and Packers game, that are notoriously wild to begin with. Weird things happen. You guys remember that one on Monday night where Rodgers got hurt and then left,
2019
and then
came back at halftime and won it. Yeah, I
came
remember.
back
That
and
was
won it.
Khalil Mack's first game.
Yeah,
a strip sack to start it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Matt seems to remember quite vividly.
Matt, I remember where I was because I was listening to it on the radio driving from Chicago to Atlanta for a work thing.
Where were you?
And didn't you think at the end of that first half, did you not go, gosh, Chicago's genius for bringing this guy in. They are going to light up the world. And at the end of at halftime, I remember thinking, Khalil Mack may run away with every award this year there is, because he was just all over the field.
Yeah.
But it's weird turn of events. But that's always a crazy game too. And I just hope it's not sloppy and we see some good football, because today was really bad. It was really bad on a lot of fronts. It wasn't just bad for me financially, but it was bad on a lot of fronts.
So that's at the root of it.
Hurts. Right.
That's at the root.
The penny drops.
Took a beating today, I'll tell you that.
So we're supposed to talk about our favorite moments as per our message that
Hefe.
Oh, do you have any this week so far? Oh my God. I can tell you what mine is. I told everybody this morning that the Lions were going to win, and they did.
You know what?
Something for once in my life.
I watched the first,
baby.
Right.
I watched the first half of that, and they were really getting after it. I was really, pretty impressed with the Swift was supposed to be beat up, and he came in. He looked great in the first half. I mean, he was really getting after it for a guy that came in that I thought was going to be on a pitch count.
I know, that's how they described it, and it's so crazy when you get that kind of information for your fantasy team, and then he's on my team, so you're trying to plan for, like, what am I doing with this guy?
Yeah.
And then that happens. It's like I don't know.
I think you got to just roll with him.
Yeah.
You can never take that stuff too great unless they're just ruled out. But it makes it even more interesting for next week, because you have these bad teams and every week you're getting supposed to be the best in the NFL, but you got the 0-3, what is it, 0-2 Colts. I mean, some of these teams that were picked to do really well, they're just not. They're just duds. 0-2 Colts, and you've got the Bengals. Cowboys are going to feel pretty good about themselves, and that'll probably keep Rush in the starting job, which will guarantee that McCarthy, gets a couple more weeks before he gets run out of town.
Mm-hmm.
But I still feel like that Dallas is a powder keg, and I think that it'll expose itself the first time that they have a quality opponent, because clearly they're not gonna.
I saw what you saw.
with the Bengals.
So I don't know too. Like, I feel like fundamentally there's a couple of really great things that I did see in several of the games, and I don't know, being like toe drag, like that classic heading out of bounds toe drag, keeping it in, not losing the ball for your first down, stopping the clock, which is kind of a ridiculous thing. But I was like, oh my God, that reminds me of, like, he looked like Chris Carter just then. There's a couple of those things that is inspiring to me, because those are your veteran players who are like keeping the whole thing from bleeding out profusely. If everybody isn't doing their part, you have a couple guys who are keeping it together at the very least. So that's good across the board, but there's not much of that. It stunk pretty gross today.
Yeah, but I go back to Thursday night. That game was great. Justin Herbert playing, just with a lot of guts. The guy's obviously injured, probably has, I thought something, it was like his ribcage puncturing his lung or something. He did not look good. And to see Chase Daniel on the sideline is never a great sign. But he only went in for one play, and then, Herbert just slings just a piss missile down the, I don't know if it was a touchdown, but it was to like the 5 or the 10. That was just a great play. And also just awesome to have Thursday night football. I was actually golfing 9 holes, and we just put that on the last 2 holes, and we're just cruising around, losing golf balls and watching some Thursday night football with Kirk Herbstreit on the call, which is strange, but I thought he did a good job.
And we're back. Yeah. What did you think about hearing Aikman and Buck on Monday Night Football? That didn't seem weird to me. People talked about it Tuesday morning, and I said, oh, yeah, that's right. I didn't hardly notice.
I don't know, but Sean Payton looked awfully comfortable today doing his little commentary thing, and I'm just going to say, for anybody who thinks he might come out of retirement, I'm thinking he probably won't. He looked like he was having a lot of fun.
Those networks have a lot of money to spend right now on talent.
Yeah,
I think right now he's going to be the next coach at Dallas.
I kind of think that too.
We are open to cash offers.
I think that will happen before the end of the year. Probably.
I'm marking that down.
I give it the next 5 weeks. McCarthy out, Payton in.
Mike McCarthy just beat the AFC champion, the representative in the Super Bowl, with a backup quarterback.
But
he can carry that into Jerry's office for at least a month and a half.
He can carry it in there until he loses next week. But I was looking at their schedule, and it's pretty soft. It's really, they've got the Giants, and then I think they have the Commanders, and then they have the Rams. The Rams today, talk about a team that was just taking another team to the woodshed for 3.5 quarters, and then just mailed it in. They were taking the Falcons out back, and then all of a sudden the Falcons just start coming, and they almost mess around and lose that. The Rams had to take a safety there at the end to run the timeout. I thought that was wild, considering that, at halftime that game was over.
Yeah. Yeah, Atlanta came all the way. It was 28-3, ironically enough.
Mariota's not bad. He's really not. The Falcons have done some things. They have a lot more positives to build on than the Colts do. Colts didn't score a dadgum point today. Didn't score once.
That's embarrassing.
What's really embarrassing is you have the league's leading rusher last year.
What's really embarrassing is that we drafted him in the number 1 spot.
Dude, our trenches team is cursed. We can just skip right to the trenches team segment. Our trenches team is cursed. Everybody we pick up gets hurt or does nothing. And Jonathan Taylor, the number 1 pick. We didn't want to get the number 1 pick, but we did. It was randomized. And he gave us 9 points today. He had 9 yards at halftime.
9 yards. 9.
Last week, Devonta Smith gave us
9
0
times.
yards. 9.
I don't remember him going 9 times.
Well, if you're talking fantasy, I had Jalen Waddle on the bench.
Oh man, that's rough.
I did have Tyreek Hill.
I went Bateman on the bench, and then Cooper. Cooper was on the bench because I started Campbell today for the Colts, and he ended up with 0.0.
Oof.
That's pretty not very good.
Pretty much receiving my grade point
So I
average
got
after
that
my
going.
first year at Penn Hill State.
So I got that going for me.
Hey,
So I got
John,
that.
you're playing me today
Yeah.
this week. That's me and you. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, in the Dynasty League?
Uh-huh. It would have been over if I started him, but that's okay. It's still neck and neck. I think we're 50-50 basically right now.
Yeah. I think my attempts to trade for Jalen Waddle on the cheap have expired.
Yes, they have.
Yeah,
Did
he's
you
just
see?
buying high right now?
Did you
Although
see?
I didn't see a fat guy in the stands doing any dances today, which was refreshing.
Yeah.
Penguin dances. Stupid.
Those bitches.
Oh, that's on the cameraman then, because I'm sure they were out there.
I'm not sold on the dadgum Dolphins. I'm really not. They've done some good things and they've added some pieces, but I just am not sold on them. I don't think that they're the juggernaut everybody thinks they are.
It doesn't calculate. It's Tua throwing for 500 yards and 6 touchdowns is like a bumblebee. It shouldn't happen, but it did. Like a bumblebee should not be able to fly based on the laws of physics, right? Or at least that's a thing I've been told enough times where I believe it's true. And that's what I equate this performance to. My brain doesn't make sense. It's like an uncanny valley situation. There's Tua out there, but there's MVP numbers, which that's my main. I think that's why I'm mostly aggravated about Tua today is because Lamar Jackson had an MVP type day where tomorrow the whole conversation would be, oh, can you imagine how big and it still will be. Can you imagine how big Lamar's contract is going to be after all those touchdowns and over 100 rushing yards? But Tua's overshadowing the MVP conversation and possibly even sticking his foot in the door. And that's just bad for business.
Well, and let's not get carried away. It is week 2, but I think that the pendulum's going to come back on that. I really do. I think that, that there's some good, you talk about bad play calling. There's some good play calling going on in Miami. I mean, they're getting some guys in space. They're taking, anytime you have Waddle and you have Tyreek, catching over 100 yards. Yeah. You're doing some good things on offense down there, and you're exposing and getting those guys into space that have some great speed, and that's what it takes. But I do think that that's going to be short lived. I think that there will be somebody that catches up to it. I think there will be somebody that figures that out. You won't always be playing, Belichick in week 1. And I think that they have to go. They have to play the Bills twice. Last time I checked, so
they
it's
got
going to
them
be
coming to town next week.
Yep.
So that'll be a reality check for them.
Well, and we're going to find out really quick because if you come out and Tyreek can put 100+ on the Bills, then I'll call them contenders. But right now, I think that's the top of the food chain up. The Bills and Allen are really good. I'd hate to be a 49er fan, even though they rolled today.
Yeah. Did you see the Seahawks pulled all 4 of their running backs onto the field just to throw an interception at the goal line?
Yeah.
Ouch.
It's the Seahawks, I wondered at the beginning of the year what exactly they were going to do. If they were just going to line up and run the Wildcat or what. I have Metcalf, and he's a non-factor in any game, and he's a genetic freak. He's wasted. They're wasting him in that offense, but I don't know if they have anybody that can throw it to him, really, honestly.
Will says his prediction of Panthers starting 0-7 is looking good. They're 0-2 at this point.
No,
now they have the
right.
Saints coming to town. They could easily lose that game. Then they have the Cardinals. I mean, that's a pretty inept, but they've got a potent offense if they can just get their shit together for a minute. I wonder what Kingsbury and Kyler's record is on the East Coast coming from Arizona. And then they have the 49ers. That's a loss. And then the Rams. That's a loss. And then the Buccaneers. And then the Falcons. That's their next real opportunity to win a game on Halloween. So I think as long as they lose that Cardinals game, Will, you're good. I mean, I'd feel real good about it. That Panthers team looks inept other than Christian McCaffrey.
Well, in the last 2 weeks have been heartbreakers for them because, they had a chance today too in the end, but they're just not very good. I mean, they're not very good defensively. They're not very good on special teams. They're just not a very good team.
I expected Matt Rule to come into the NFL and do well. He turned around Baylor. He turned around that other place. TCU?
Sounds right.
Sounds right. Nope. Coach is shaking his head. Anyway.
Not TCU. He wasn't in the Big 12 before that. Where was he at? Somewhere on the East Coast.
He
ACC?
took 2 schools that were in the toilet and made them downright respectable.
Well, the Baylor was more than the toilet. I mean, they were already flushed and they were
they were on the verge of the death penalty.
Yeah, death penalty. Yeah. I mean, they had some Title IX, some bad stuff going on down there.
He had an interview with the Giants set up.
Art Briles left them in shambles. It was worse than the old SMU situation.
That's real.
I mean, I'm talking like people in charges. People getting run out of the game forever. It was Black Sox kind of stuff.
He had, after he talked to the Panthers, he had an interview already scheduled with the Giants, but Carolina didn't let him leave. They signed him to that 10-year contract. They said, what is it going to take for you to not even go to that interview? And here they are, 0-2.
John, do you know the guy, that owner of Carolina? He's a hedge fund guy. He bought it.
We need somebody on this show.
You know what I'm talking about?
Pick the Bears and bail us out.
He's a
Temple Owls,
he's a bank nerd, and he just seems like the kind of guy that if he believes in you, like you're his guy, like through anything. So Matt Rule might be safe.
Well, they stuck with Riverboat Ron for a long time, a lot longer than I thought they would, and I really, I like Riverboat Ron, but 2013 to 2016 he was with the Temple Owls, who have the best March Madness mascot there is. Always flapping.
Always flapping.
Did you guys
don't stop flapping the whole game?
One of these people needs to pick the Bears here. Maria, Jason, Tony, Rodney, somebody. We can't have a Packers across the board.
Oh my God, there was another.
That's not going to be good. Look, America's only at 58%. We're okay.
You guys want to hear my prediction?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yes.
Can't wait.
21-17.
Maria, thank you, Maria.
Packers.
Ditka 75. The Packers -3.
132 to 4.
No, say it again, John.
21-17 Packers. Bears cover.
A close one.
21-17 Packers.
I think we'll score a couple touchdowns and maybe a field goal. That's optimistic on the 17 points, but I didn't see anything in the Packers that made me too scared last week, to be honest.
So tell me this, John. Do you like Monty in the backfield tonight, or do you think Khalil's going to come in and take some of that goal line stuff away from the fantasy guys?
I think Khalil. I like Khalil a lot.
Yeah, he's good, isn't he?
Yeah, I still don't know what this Bears team is. We didn't get a good look at it last week because of the weather conditions, but they got some spunk. They got some life. The Packers have something to prove. So I think this game could go any number of ways, but my optimistic side says 21-17 Packers. It's in Green Bay. We don't play well against the Packers in general, especially in Green Bay. I think Aaron's going to be pissed. I think he probably spent all week up the wide receivers' asses, and he's going to know exactly where they're at.
God, I hope so.
But again, they're not good wide receivers, so I don't.
No, they're not good.
I'm saying 21 points because I think Aaron Rodgers can will that to happen.
So is Jar on Mooney tonight?
They'll probably have Jair.
So he's going to throw a pick, 2 picks. Is 1.5 a good over on picks for Justin? tonight?
I bet it's probably set at 1.5.
I think-
He'll throw
yeah.
it, dude. That secondary is good.
Yeah.
I have Cole Kmet first touchdown,
Hmm.
28-1, which is crazy because that's the only place he has to go with the ball. And
Yeah.
Chicago or Green Bay, historically, we just leave the middle of the field wide open. Especially if you're an athlete, you can just have 10 yards whenever you want them over the
Yeah,
middle.
I just haven't seen the full Bears playbook yet, so it's a big question mark tonight.
They go to the option in quarter one.
What
You
will
might
say, I
change
got
the
this.
channel.
Maximized here. I'm going to take this down.
I'll
Yeah,
tell
if
you.
we start seeing T formation, I'm going to start
Yeah.
crying.
Yeah.
Will says 35-7 Packers. I think it's going to
Wow.
be at like 34-10.
Will, you ignorant
34-14.
slut?
I think I mean,
I'm just kidding, Will.
if it's 35-7, then he's had to spread it around pretty good. That means Dubs catches a couple. They get
Bobby
Tanyan in the
Tonyan.
mix.
Lazard.
You
We
know,
got some
Lazard.
hungry guys on defense, though.
Dude,
Yeah,
I gotta-
I don't know if it gets quite to that number, but you know,
We'll see.
I don't know.
We'll see.
It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. They better be drastically better than they were last week because they looked terrible last week. And Watson
Yeah.
looked like he literally had never seen a playbook.
He had butt cheeks for hands.
Oh,
Ass
it was
hands.
terrible.
Some of his ass hands.
Yeah.
He's my quarterback on fantasy, which is ironic, but I did that to myself. He better perform tonight or I'm going to be pissed. Just saying.
Watson, I mean, MVS is off to a great start. Speaking of ass for hands, I got him. He's done nothing. 0. 0.0.
So we watching this game live or what's happening? I think we lost them.
All right. Well,
I don't know. Maybe they're playing a prank.
well, for all of you guys tuning out there, this is Patriot Sports signing off.
Well, we said 7:15, right?
Yeah.
I mean, hey.
They
What could
went
be
ahead and
more
cut
right?
it. And they're like, hey, you guys can talk all you want. Kickoff's coming.
Right. We out. Peace out,
Yeah.
homies.
Yeah, I don't know. What's your prediction on the score, Angela, real quick?
Oh boy. I don't know. Let me think about this. I don't know. Let's say I think that the Bears will score a little bit of something. I don't know. Let's say 27-14. I think it'll be even. Nice round numbers. Not really, but
I was going to go 27-13.
really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Maybe 24-13, 27-13, something like that.
I can see the Bears putting up 13 tonight.
Yeah. I do too. I'm not sold on the Green Bay defense at all.
well, they have a high from last week too. I mean, ride that for a little while. That does something for you, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Fields, I think, scrambles for one. They'll probably cover downfield, but he'll get loose. I mean, maybe somebody in that offensive room can figure out how to put him in because he's a weapon. I mean, he's got some tools.
Yeah, one of the silver linings from last week is it's been a long time since we've seen a coaching staff make halftime adjustments that worked. So,
Yeah,
we're still figuring out what we have in coaches.
that's got to make
and
you happy as a
everything.
Bears fan. That never
Yeah.
happens.
Imagine having confidence in your coach's ability to perceive information and make adjustments.
Yeah,
I'm going through that this year. That's great.
and
Yeah, you guys seem to have a good coach.
Oh, I'm so excited. I think he's amazing.
Mhm.
And people are talking about Cousins for MVP, and I'm on that train. I know he's my
Oh
team,
my!
but you just stop you. You write it down. I said it.
Deep
Oh,
breath.
My,
You just wait. I'm seeing
strategy,
things that
Cotton.
you don't see.
Yeah, you're gonna regret saying that. You're
Nope.
immediately regretting that.
I am
decision.
jotting that
Nope.
down.
Yeah,
Write it.
write that down
down.
in concrete.
Lock it up.
Sunday, September 18th. Kirk
That's gonna
Cousins
come
for
by.
MVP.
That's gonna come right back.
Nope.
Cousins for MVP on the
I know.
18th of September.
Say it out loud. It makes you laugh, right?
It does.
As long as nobody gets hurt.
The
Lock it
Vikings
up.
make me laugh. I'm not gonna lie. It's not just him; it's the whole team.
Me too, kinda. Watch.
But hey,
Corn
they
pop.
may-
Let's talk about corn
we'll
pop.
see. We'll see.
Oh, it's got to be
We'll
Hutchinson.
see. We just will.
Hutchinson
Yeah,
had 3
absolutely.
sacks.
Hutch. Got to be Hutch.
I think
She did in the
Angela's getting
corn pop.
pissed. We will see.
We will.
Oh, I
I'm
finally
seeing-
made Angela mad.
I watched
Yep.
these guys
Now
suck
you did it.
day after day and year after year. And I'm seeing things that I haven't seen since they were supposed to go to the Super Bowl last time.
You're
And
seeing
so
ghosts.
I'm seeing ghosts, right?
So Will chimes in with no one in college football wants to play the Cougars right now from Washington State, except for App State. Don't
That's right.
schedule them.
The
Don't do it.
buzzsaw.
They will tear you up. They're never out of it. Anyhow. Yeah. What do you think, Chris? What's your prediction on the score? How about you,
I got.
host guy? What do you think?
I think I said 34-10.
34-10. Bears?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
34-10 Packers.
Just checking.
I
Making sure
just
you're-
I'm getting my first touchdown bets in. Packers defense, Cole Kmet. Mercedes Lewis is 50-1. Do they understand how much Aaron Rodgers loves Mercedes Lewis, aka Big Dog?
What do you think about
50-1?
Dubs? Dubs catch a couple of tugs tonight or what?
He could get involved.
If they get to 34, he's going to have to, my man.
If
He's going to
Watson-
have to.
Right.
You better hope
Watson
and pray he does.
If Watson drops a ball, he's done. I
I
think
got-
he's on double secret probation. He'll go to Dubs then.
I got 10-21 Packers.
You guys are
21-10
predicting
Packers?
an NFC North battle.
Hey, so hopefully somebody gave Watson a playbook this week. Hopefully he finally checked one out because he had no clue last week. No,
We
idea.
had to contact the gods of his earth in order to clear all that. I don't know if that's done yet. I thought that was a week 4 type deal.
He had no
It takes
idea
a
what
while
routes to
because
be
it's all the
running.
way in space, Chris. It
Yeah.
takes a minute to get it up there.
Well,
Yep.
hopefully he
I-
beamed into the Sputnik and got a hold of the offensive playbook because he was lost last week. Literally
Hopefully
lost.
his mentals aren't destroyed after that drop. So you guys are all on board with Hutchinson as Corn Pop nominee of the week. Chris and I were talking about Justin Herbert, who came back and won
Yeah.
a game on a broken
That's a good
rib.
one. That's
Yeah.
a good one.
Man,
I'd
he
actually,
toughed that. Did you see him gut that out? And he
Yeah.
kept getting sacked and kept getting sacked and he kept getting back up.
He took
And the
hits
kid's
after
done
that?
it. He's done it his whole
Yeah.
career. He's really done it his whole career. They've had shit for offensive line.
Yeah.
Well, it's
It's
not that big of a
impressive.
deal.
I mean, okay. All right.
you have a rib cage
Cousins for
puncturing your lung.
MVP on the 18th.
I'll tell you what is a big deal. The doctor who stabbed Tyrod Taylor in the lung last year is currently being sued by Tyrod Taylor for $5 million settlement, is still employed by the Chargers and is currently working on Justin Herbert's
Oh gosh, not our
rib
boy.
slash chest injury.
Not
How
our
is
boy.
that?
His resume includes Michael Jackson and
Prince.
Let's all say a
several
prayer for Justin
questionable scripts written.
I mean, is there a really upstanding LA doctor to begin with? No. You got to get a doctor from Keokuk, Iowa. He'll
Yep.
shoot you straight.
Yeah, I mean, if you want calf implants, you're good. If you want your ACL fixed or a rib broken,
Yeah.
or
He's
a
going to
broken
wake
rib
up from
fixed,
surgery with just pulled back
Tits?
face.
So what are we-
injections.
So real quick, where do we go with this corn? Who's our corn pop? Who's
The
our bad
nominees,
man?
Hutchinson and Herbert.
Hutchinson and Herbert.
I think we go tie this week because both of those cats.
1A,
showed
1B.
up.
Hey,
Oh,
Man,
Angela
what
says
Herbert
no.
did, that just doesn't happen very often by these kids.
Yeah,
That was
it's unique.
that's true.
It's unique.
I'd
That's
give it to
true.
Herbert. I love the guy.
Yeah.
Well,
he's
Then
pretty
John
good.
is the swing vote,
All right.
and Coach is already on the fence. And you
Yeah.
know we can get Angelo with some sentimental stuff.
I don't know.
about-
She looks pretty.
Right?
I bet his mom was there. His mom probably saw it happen. And
Here's the deal, though. Herbert's going to be off for a while. Hutchinson's going to have 18 of those. This
3
year.
sacks.
that's
I-
made history. That was a historical thing.
God,
was
that,
it?
that
Yeah.
one down in by the
It
goal
was.
line from Hutchinson?
Well, it's a Lions history.
That's,
Oh, I
oh,
was
that's
just
not
gonna
real
say, that's
history.
Big ol'
Right.
asterisk.
Which
That's
I will tell
true.
you, a good game
4
and a win by
catches
the
gets
Lions, you better
Lions.
savor the flavor because it doesn't happen very often.
Four
Right.
catches.
We
catches
may
will
only
get
see
you a legend
maybe
in 4
5 or
field.
6 this year, guys.
Uh,
Although I
ridiculous.
think we have written down on the board somewhere, Angela said they were making the playoffs. Did we not?
Oh God, I might have said something about a wild card.
Oh my goodness!
I hit my head earlier
next to
that day,
Cousins for
though.
MVP.
I was so excited.
That was the last time
Hey, let me tell
Mercury
you
was in
something.
retrograde.
This
Yeah.
whole backpedaling stuff's got to go.
Yeah.
Angela, God bless.
Angela, you got to stand out on that plank if you're going to
Well,
own this
you were-
stuff. I mean,
you got
I've
out there
taken a
now.
beating the last 2 weeks.
Said McCarthy's gonna get fired, which he will, right? We all know that. All right, I don't know.
The first rule of being on this podcast is you have to belligerently stick to your guns,
That's exactly
even
right.
in the face.
I am.
bold faced wrong.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm not afraid.
All right.
I'll
Well,
take it.
I put that on the whiteboard. Cousins
right,
for
cool.
MVP.
Lock
That
it
needs
up.
to go down. That's
Cousins.
in concrete.
Who we got?
You're gonna owe me big
Give
time.
it to Herbert. Give it to Herbert. Let's
Yeah,
roll.
we got to give it to Herbert.
Okay, fine.
Herbert is our corn pop bad man of the week.
He's a bad
Yeah,
dude.
up there.
He's a bad dude.
He's a bad
You're up to
dude.
some bad boys.
You don't want to meet him behind the ag building.
Oh,
He'll take you out the woodshed.
corn pop.
Corn pop.
Oh man.
Corn
I
pop.
love it.
If Biden could see
That
us
one's
now.
for you, brother.
Oh my goodness.
Herbert.
All right. Well, we got a game to watch.
All right, we got Cousins
We
on
gotta
the
give-
board.
No, he's
Oh,
got
Cousins,
come on.
got
Cousins
on
for
the board
MVP.
for
Put it
MVP.
down.
Shit
I'm
just
gonna
got
put,
real.
right down my
Angela, I can't believe you,
21-17.
that is a skinny plank you're on. Can you hold on to that?
21-17 Bears by John.
I believe it. I really do.
And McCarthy gets
21-17.
canned.
Because my other prediction was Rodgers was going to get hurt, so it all goes.
You can't predict
Mhm.
somebody gets hurt. You can't throw that juju out into the world.
Nope.
Yeah, that's bad.
Although
That's,
I like
that's rule
that
number
ball.
2 of this podcast. No predicting
Yeah,
injuries.
rule number 2. There's only 2
We're gonna need to get another whiteboard with
until
the
we
rules.
make up a 3.
Yep.
Unless it's a
Literally
Texas
stick your gun.
Longhorn, you cannot say that.
Hey,
It's like the
I'll tell
wedding
you this.
crashers.
I am impressed that you rolled in with the Lions uniform today. Lions
Yeah,
gear.
It looks
That's
good.
big league. That's
She
big
had it on
league.
this morning. She was
Way to
all
stand.
in.
Way to stand out there on the island.
In
Very
fact, I
nice.
think Hutchinson should probably send you a signed jersey. You're probably the reason.
You
I'm
should.
pretty sure.
Should. You should get one from
I would say.
Rodrigo. If you're getting any
Yeah.
jersey, you got to get a Rodrigo. That guy's just
No.
yeah.
I think so. All right, let's go watch football. Thank you, everyone, for listening.
Happy
Thanks for the
football.
comments and reviews and support. If you haven't already, leave us a 5-star review, throw a rope and help us climb these charts. Go check us out on the Trenches, presented by Armchair Athletics. You can find them on their YouTube channel. We got Wake and Rake, the early morning live stream now as well. Set your alarm clocks at every Sunday at 7:30 in the a.m. And of course, the one and only Patriot Sports recorded right here on Saturday mornings, locally sourced and mostly sports. Everybody's doing it. You should be too. Until next time, be good to each other. Chris, kick the outro music.
Kingsbury still sucks.
Your pick's wrong, Will.
I don't care if they won. Kingsbury sucks.
There's some kind of outro glitch.